Cody Lusby. I'm an artist from Long Beach, California, and I went to Laguna College of Art and Design, and then afterwards I've kind of floated around and shown a lot in Orange County and in LA, and now I'm in Long Beach, and I love it there. It's just the perfect mix of the two, you know? I use a lot of collage in my fine art work, which I show in galleries and museums. And basically from Rauschenberg on, I just feel like photography is such a big part in like the modern world, and taking my own photographs and collaging that in my work. So I thought, well, what can I give as a project for like anybody who comes through the gallery is like little cut and paste project. So what we did was we took postcards, watercolor postcards, and then used that as a substrate, and then collaged, like cut out different imagery, and then glued onto postcards, and they could send it off to loved ones or friends or family, you know. When I lived with like three other roommates when I first got out of college, and they were artists too, and we were doing a lot of like cut and paste stuff, and we were like playing with collage. We were way into Rauschenberg and way into like Warhol and like the pop artists and pop surrealists, and it was cool. It was fun and like just exciting to like experiment and see what happens with our art, you know. Sometimes it's like you need to get your conscious out of the way and let your subconscious take over, and or whatever take over, and see what happens. Because sometimes it can be just like blah, and there it is, you know. And you got lucky. People don't like it when you say that, like happy accidents, like Bob Ross. They just don't call it accidents anymore. They're just like, no, I meant to do that. What I like to see out of like people that are coming up, and what I think helped me so much was like, it's all about professionalism. If you can be like, show up on time, make things happen, like there's a due date on whatever is due, you're there. Maybe, and then when you're supposed to like arrive to like drop off your artwork, you're early, you know? Your artwork is framed, it's ready to hang. That's not anybody's job but you, you know? Like, you need to think about your work from how is it going to get built, all the way till it's going to get hung on somebody's wall, and how do you make that process as easy as possible. And that all matters, like not just creating the artwork. That's another part of it. But so to be in the art world, and if you want to make a living in the art world, you treat it like a job, and it's professionalism, and that means like thinking about your artwork that way. When you get farther along in the business, and you already know all these things, then you'll be working alongside preparators that will handle a lot of that stuff, or your assistants will handle that stuff that you don't like to do. But until then, you got to do it. So that's how it starts, you know. Like, you've got to start handling everything. And really, as an artist, I'm my own like independent company basically, and I need to handle all my work, and that's taxes, that's everything, you know. Like, what's the price on this stuff, how all that matters. And people always ask me, they're like, Cody, so you're in a studio all the time? I'm like, I wish I could just sit in my studio and paint all the time, but I cannot do that. I have to go meet people, and it's a lot of like hustling and talking with people. And like, at one time, it was what I liked was, it was like when I got a big commission that paid for multiple months of paintings and stuff like that, it was like, oh, I got to ship out stuff, and that took a lot of time, like packaging and shipping. But people don't, they want to be an artist, and it's just create art. That's not it. Like, you can't just create art. It's not gonna pay the bills. You have to, nobody's gonna find you. You have to make yourself seen, you know, and put yourself out there. That's the only way.